Hey, hi, this is Eddie Landsberg, and we're going to take a little look into chord construction using the 7 secrets and jazz and soul approach. This is my own method, and currently a number of my books are available at Amazon.com, including my latest Jazz and Gospel Harmony and Performance for non-readers, because so many great gospel players and even many great jazz players aren't great readers of musical notation. The music we play isn't about just reading notes off a piece of paper. It's about playing from the heart. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be a goal of any player to learn anything they can, and that includes reading, but reading isn't in the end what the music is about. So you can be a great player of jazz or gospel, not be the greatest reader. And all that said, the question is, how do you teach without presenting a lot of musical notation? And the answer is you just use plain and simple language, and I'm going to show you how. Today we're going to take a look at shell voicings, and these are really simple chord voicings that are so easy to master, and once you can play any chord progression on the spot. And not only do they sound good, but they're important, especially when you're playing with other chordal instruments, so you're not going to clash. For example, if you're a pianist playing with a guitarist, a pianist playing with another organist, and if you play these streamlined chords, and then you could add on to them, you're not going to get those dirty looks as a result of playing certain extension tones, things that kind of make the rhythm section either too busy or that lead to harmonic clashes. So we're going to learn about shell voicings, and in order to be able to participate in this lesson, you need to know your fourth intervals. In other words, if I say to you, what's the fourth belonging to C, automatically you should go F. If I say, what's the fourth belonging to B flat, without thinking, you should say E flat, and so on and so forth. You should also be familiar with basic chord progressions, and let's take, for example, a 2-5-1 progression. This is the most common chord progression in jazz as well as many other forms of music. By the way, I am using Adobe Illustrator, so when I click here, you're not going to hear any music. This is just a graphic, so I can walk you through things, explain things, then you can take it to your own instrument. Okay, 2-5-1 progression. So for example, let's say we're in the key of B flat. Your 2-5-1 progression would be C minor to F7 to B flat major. If you're not familiar with that, just get my book, I explain it all. But let me walk you through the chord construction process. So let's say we want to construct a C minor chord. The way we're going to do that, let me take a little marker here and put one down here. So we're going to do a C minor chord. Now, if you're playing the organ and you're the bass player, C is going to be played in the bass, or the foot pedals, or your left hand lower manual, whatever. Here's our C. Now, here's how you do a shell voicing on a C minor chord or any minor chord. It's really easy. You simply go a whole step below the root. That's 2 half steps, 1, 2, and that is your 7th. That's the first note you're going to play, and then you add the note that's a 4th above that note. Okay, so we got C, and the note that is a whole step below C is B flat. Then we go up a 4th, and the note that is up a 4th is E flat. That's your shell voicing, and it might sound it might sound in principle overly simplistic, but actually when you play it and you play it along with the band and you have a whole rhythm section going, it's not going to sound simplistic if you're playing it the right way. This is like the basic chord that all professionals use. The opposite are when you play chords and the root is involved. That is usually not a good idea, unless it's a certain down-home blues or something. You're going to be in the way of the bass player. Okay, so B flat, E flat. And again, there's other notes that you can add on to it. For example, okay, you can put the 5th on top, but that's not what we're talking about right now. But just as an example, if you want some comparison, for example, we could put in the 9th, 2, And if you want to, you can go to your instrument and try it. The notes are B flat, D, E flat, G. That's B flat, D, E flat, G. You can hit the pause button and try it out. Play the root in your left hand in the bass, and then in your right hand B flat, D, E flat, G. But right now, we don't need that D and we don't need the G for the time being. So let me put the little pebbles back here, and let's move on. Okay, C minor 7. Now, what if it's a 2-5-1 progression? What is the next chord we're going to play? Without thinking, you should say, Eddie, it is F7, F dominant 7. I will say that you are right. F dominant 7, also written as F7. Okay, how do we do that? Well, the bass note C goes to F. Ja-ja-ja-ja. And then all we have to do, or I could play it down a little octave. There we go. Then all you have to do is take that shell voicing and just lower the bottom note a half step. That's all you got to do. So now you're playing A, E flat. That's it. And of course there's fancy things we could do. For example, let's say we could have that 9th on top still, like we did in the last voicing when we fancied it up. Okay, you could do that, but it's not necessary. So let me get rid of it for the time being. And there we have. Now, next, we've got one more chord to play, and hopefully you can tell me what it is. 2-5-1, what's the one? And hopefully you say to me it's B flat major 7. So, the next thing we do is the root goes up a 4th. Actually, it's going down a 5th. Same thing, same note. And then we just lower that top note of the shell voicing. So before we lowered the bottom note a half step, now we lower the top note. And that's what it looks like. A, D. So B flat. And you'll notice that here, the note, let me show you for a second. Take another pebble here. We're playing a B flat major 7 chord. And you just go a half step. Now before we went a whole step, you go a half step before the root, and then you just play a 4th interval. You put down the note, and play the interval a 4th above it. So it's that simple. So let me repeat the process one more time. And get rid of our little pebbles here. And by the way, don't just listen to the lecture and read through it. Everything has to be put into practice. So this is just a visual step-by-step demonstration. You got to go to your instrument. And we start out on C, and we go a whole step below C, which is B flat, and then we play the note up a 4th. Simple. Go to your instrument. Do it. Don't just read it. Next, we want to go to F7, and we just lower the lowest note a half step, and then we want to go to B flat major 7, and we lower the note a half step. That's all. It's that simple. Now, we talked about fancying up the chord. Again, let me show it to you like the fancy way. Okay, we started with C. Let me get the notes back here. We have B flat and E flat. Okay, and we can throw in G. And there we go. So then we go up to F, we go down to F, we lower the note by a half step. We don't even have to change any other notes in the chord. So there's our F7 chord. This is actually a F dominant 9, F9 chord. F7 with a 9. Okay, and then we end the progression on B flat, B flat. And then we just lower this down here, and we can take the top note down a whole step. So we have A, D, F. You can even throw in that C there. And that's it. Simple chord progression, and you can do this in any key by following these rules. As an example, let me clear our board here. Again, this is a visual I made using Adobe Illustrator, my own thing, and take the little pebbles off. These look like little green mints. I'm getting hungry. It's the worst thing. I get an eating disorder and you make something so yummy looking. The purple too. Anyway, let's see. Let's erase and let's find another key to go to. We will go to what's a good key? Let's go to the key of F major. Okay, so if we're in the key of F major, that means we have to go G minor 7, excuse me. And let me get my color back here. G minor 7 to C7 to F major 7. Now, right now, you should know what to do. So what I'd like to challenge you to do is briefly pause the video and then go and try to do it and then come back and see if you did it right. How's that? So right now, just pause the video while I tidy things up. Okay? And hopefully you pause the video and hopefully you're back now. G minor 7. Okay. So our bass note is G. Again, if there's a bass player in the band, we're not going to play that note. And we go a whole step below G. And we play a fourth. Then, to get to C, we either go up to C or down to C. And we lower the lowest note by a half step. And to get to F, I'm going to go back up fourth, and boom, highest note down a half step. That's it. And all you got to do is put it to work and practice it in all keys. 2, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. And there are your shell voicings. Now, the challenge is to learn your minor chords in all keys in and out of order. And remember, you're just simply playing the note that's a whole step below the root, and then a fourth interval. And then the bass, you can play the root. And then to play a dominant chord, it's a little trickier. Let me, for example, play a F. Okay, let's do an F dominant 7 chord. You have to know how to play a tritone interval. That's 3 whole steps. 1, 2, 3. And if you can do that in all keys, the rule is simply you go a whole step below the root, and then you just play a tritone. Again, that's 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 half steps. And that's it. And you need to be able to play that interval in and out of order in all keys. Finally, in order to play a major chord, let's say we're trying to play F major, all you do is you go a half step, not a whole step, but a half step below the root, and then you play the interval of a fourth. And it's that easy. So, master your fourths, and they also by knowing your fourths, you know your 2-5 progressions. For example, D minor, what's the 5 chord following D minor? D, G. What's the major? C. So you got to know your fourths in order to know your 2-5-1 progressions as well. So this is Eddie Landsberg. You can check out my book over at Amazon.com. My latest book at the time of this taping is Jazz and Gospel Harmony and Performance for non-readers. And hope you enjoyed the lesson. If you have any questions or comments, you can put your messages below, and hope to talk to you soon. Bye-bye.